Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. My topic for today is I have two topics. My topic number one deals with Law and Justice Minister Kiren Rijiju and his statement that you don't need to amend the anti-defection law because it's working perfectly. That is the first topic I want to talk about. The second topic I want to talk about is Amitabh Bachchan's statement in the International Film Festival in Kolkata. And that's my topic for today. Let's get right into the show. Okay, so the law minister, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, said that the defection, there has been a substantial decrease in defection, especially after the insertion of the 10th Amendment in the Constitution, that is the anti-defection law. There has been a substantial decrease in defection. And you don't need to amend this law now. Okay na? Kar diya kaam law ne. Law is working. It is working perfectly. Why do you want to amend it? Acha, now the problem is that defection has not affected Bharatiya Janata Party much. But the defection seems to be affecting each and every party. And defection has affected Congress party the most. Okay. Now let me give you some numbers and then we will get back to our analysis. Okay, now if you go by numbers, according to a report, there's a very good article about this in the Times of India. And according to Times of India, the candidate poll affidavit analyzed by the National Election Watch and the Association of Democratic Reforms, that is ADR, released on Thursday, a total of 222 electoral candidates left the Congress to join other parties during poll held between 2014 and 2021, while 177 MPs and MLAs quit the party during this period. The National Election Watch ADR report is based on the analysis of the poll affidavits of 1,133 candidates and 500 MPs and MLAs who changed parties and recontested elections during the Lok Sabha and Assembly polls since 2014. Now, it is not that the BJP has not lost people. BJP has also lost people. BJP has lost as many as 111 candidates, out of which 33 MPs and MLAs during the election year since 2014. Yet the Saffron Party remains the biggest gainer as a total of 253 candidates and 173 MPs and MLAs came to its fold, quitting their respective parties, and the report shows. Now, defection comes into effect when a person gets elected through one party, then leaves the party and goes and joins the other party. Something very similar to what has happened in Maharashtra recently, when Shinde camp defected from Shiva Sena, took around 40 MLAs and joined the Bharatiya Janata Party, or joined the alliance. They call themselves a new party, but whatever, joined the alliance with Bharatiya Janata Party and formed government, which is in Maharashtra. Mind you, if you remember in 2019, Ajit Pawar too had done the same in Maharashtra, where he defected from NCP and joined the Bharatiya Janata Party, allied with the Bharatiya Janata Party to form the government. The same has happened in Karnataka. The same has happened in Madhya Pradesh. All of this after 2014. So, not just that MLAs have jumped, it doesn't come under party anti-defection and all. If one person of one party member jumps to another party, it doesn't come under anti-defection. But a sitting MLA who got elected in one party jumps to another party, then it is anti-defection. And that has happened a lot as far as India is concerned. And like I said, the biggest gainer of this anti-defection has been the Bharatiya Janata Party. So, Kiren Rijiju saying that, you see, anti-defection law is working and there is no problem and we need not amend it, is obvious because anti-defection or rather defection has helped his party more. Now, the question of today's editorial. You see, are bills made for people or are bills made for the convenience of the government? Government not just to govern better, but to ensure that their political strength, their political will is maintained on the country, on the people. Are bills made for that? Because most of the bills which are passed in the parliament has got a political background. It is for most of the bills, I'm not saying all the bills, lot of bills rather, which are passed has a political reason for that to get passed. Either it is for an impending election or it is for a general appeasement of the voters of a particular political party, especially the dominant political party, in this case the Bharatiya Janata Party, or it is to ensure that the agenda of the political party that came into power is implemented, regardless whether it helps the people or it doesn't help the people. Now, why should anti-defection be taken seriously? Anti-defection should be taken seriously is because if defection is prevalent in our democracy, we will cease to be a democracy. You don't cast a vote for a person because his face looks good, or you like him, or he's your neighbor, or he's your relative. You cast vote for a person because you think he will represent your constituency the best. That's why you cast the vote. And that best is when he professes, he puts up his agenda, he puts up his point, he puts up his program in front of you, and he says, I will do this, and this is the basic ideology that I believe in, which is something that you agree to and you cast your vote. And he jumps to the next ideology. He jumps to an ideology which is drastically different from the ideology he took his vote from you for. So that's number one. So he basically does jump for his selfish purpose, either for getting a bigger position, getting a ministership, getting a ministerial berth, or getting money, or very rarely for any public good, very rarely. Okay. The second thing what happens? Second thing what happens is, again, your vote becomes null and void, your vote will have no relevance, and democracy, again, like I told you, will go down the drain, is because finally it will be the deals that parties crack with the MLAs that finally will ensure the government that is formed in your state or your country. It will be the party. If the party can get more MLAs, buy more MLAs, lure more MLAs into their party, they can form the government, regardless whether you have voted for them or not. You must have voted for the party too, but the party one, which has got more money, which has got more power, which has got more strength in the country, can easily make their government by threatening, luring, bribing, or whatever the MLAs, and getting them into their fold. So where is democracy gone? Where is democracy gone? So somewhere down the line, things that we are just considering very small and very trivia, and just saying that anti-defection has worked for so long and is doing substantially well, and you don't need amendments. Well, these are core laws, these are core rules that form our democracy, that maintains our democracy, and that preserves our democracy. Let's not take this lightly. Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is known to be a gentleman who does not get into controversies. He does not make any controversial statements. He keeps away from controversy. Now, a lot of people say that, he doesn't have the spine, or he doesn't have the guts to talk about things. See, I do not subscribe to all those views. And I don't subscribe to all those views is because if a person does not want to talk about a subject, or does not want to get into controversies, does not want to kind of risk his own career, life, business, income by talking something which possibly could harm him in the future, so that's his choice. That doesn't make him a good person or a bad person. And Mr. Bachchan has made a choice wherein he says, I do not want to get into controversies. I want to focus on my art, I want to focus on my cinema, I want to focus on my income, and therefore I want to focus on my business. I do not want to get into controversy. This is what Amitabh Bachchan is, and this is the way he normally behaves, which I think is very fair. But Very surprisingly, Mr. Bachchan made a statement in the International Film Festival in Kolkata, International Film Festival 2022 in Kolkata, where he says that, you see, questions are raised about freedom of expression and liberties when it comes to Indian film industry. Now, this is very concerning because a person like Amitabh Bachchan is raising it, which means somebody like me would want to believe that it has hit the rock bottom. That is why a man who otherwise never talks about these subjects has actually gone and mentioned this in a public forum. Let's hear what Mr. Bachchan had to say. Let's hear that for 2 minutes.
Ek Kadam in 1947 went to the extent of showing Netaji Subhash Bose in one of its posters. With these never-ending confrontations in the 1940s, the policing of Indian cinema grew exasperatingly stringent. To put it mildly, over the rigmarole of 5 different censor boards setting up their own rules, things were chaotic. Finally, the 1952 Cinematograph Act set out the structure of censorship as it stands today, upheld by the Film Certification Board. But even now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure my colleagues on stage will agree, questions are being raised on civil liberties and freedom of expression. Since those early times, there have been many changes in cinema content, production, star system, the way films are viewed by audiences. Subjects have also been vastly varied. From mythological films, socialist cinema like the films of Bimal Roy, Chetan Anand and Raj Kapoor, with his Chaplin-inspired tramp as the protagonist, art house cinema, the advent of the angry young man of the 70s and 80s, viewed against the frustration of countless unemployed youth, to the current brand of historicals, couched in fictionalized jingoism, along with moral policing. The range has kept audiences reflecting on the politics and social concerns of our times through single screens, videos, multiplexes, and now the burgeoning OTT.
Now, the censor board, what he said is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to dwell on it much. But you see, what little I understand is the censor board is the ultimate group of people who decides what you should see and what you should not see. They decide for you. They are like your parents. So like you have parental control on your television, where you decide what your little child should see or your little child should not see, same way these people control. These people decide what you should see and what you should not see. Now that is theek hai. Chalo, that is one end of the story. The second end of the story is who decides these people, who decides this group. The government decides this group. The government decides who is the chairman of censor board. Now, how does the government decide who is the chairman of the censor board? The government decides who is the chairman of censor board based on the people who are pro the government versus people who are anti-government. So, if I am pro Bharatiya Janata Party and if I have made 1.5 films, chances are I may be appointed as the chairman of the censor board. If I am pro-Congress and if I have made 1.5 films, I may be also nominated by the Congress, if they are in the government, as chairman of the board. So the chairman of the board basically manifests the ideologies, the thinking process of the government. So one film and one filmmaker wants to tell you a story which may not be in line with the ideology of the government or may not be very pro-government. That film is thrown out. The censor board fellow will say, "Nahi, Baba, this is not correct because the statement made there and the dress you wore here and the acting you did there and the action you made here is wrong." He or she decides your film is off. So he or she decides for the entire country, decided you should not see that film. Why? Because he or she and the government who appointed her feels that you should not see it. What does this take away from you? Your liberties and your right of expression. So what Mr. Bachchan said is right. Achha, the second thing is also that through this a same censor board, you induce ideology into people. You induce ideology. So if I'm a filmmaker and I want to tell a story which is not necessarily even correct, factually it may be erroneous, but still I want to tell you the story, and I can, because censor board to apna hai na. It will go through. Now this is very dangerous. This is very dangerous. And again, it's harming the sheer concept of being free. It is harming the sheer concept of living in a democratic country. This is number 2. Number 3 is the concept of ban and the freedom of expression. For starters, I have always been saying, I have said this in my previous editorials too, that I do not believe in the concept of Kashmir Files. I didn't like the movie. I did not believe in that story, because I thought it was slightly exaggerated. This is my view. But never in my life would I advocate for that movie to be banned. Because the filmmaker had the right to express his view. He expressed his view. And you have the right to see it, to agree with it or not to agree with it. That does not make, I will not pass a judgment on that filmmaker or on that film or on those actors. I will not pass a judgment on them, because that is their freedom of expression. It could differ from my freedom of expression, but then end of the day, it is their freedom of expression, and I respect that. So this whole concept of banning films, just because it is not in line with what I think we are pulling our progressive country, progressive culture and progressive society backwards. This is what I think. Because I believe in our people. I believe in every Indian. I think an Indian is an intelligent lot. We are today dominating the world forum. It is not because of one individual or two individuals and all. We are dominating the world forum today is because a lot of Indians are becoming corporate leaders and today even country leaders. So a lot of people are performing extraordinarily well. That Indian community is what you are censoring, saying that ye tum yehi dekhne ka, tum ye nahi de sakta, you don't have the brains to see this, you don't have the understanding to see this. Is that even fair? That's the question I will leave you tonight with. Please do subscribe to our channel. Please subscribe, because your subscription amount helps us to run our office, pay our bills. So please do subscribe to our channels. We don't have advertisers to pay us. So if you expect us to run this show the way we are running it, please do subscribe to us, comment, share our content, and ensure more and more people see us. Till I see you next time, that is on Monday at 10 p.m. Namaskar.
To know about the latest updates on our new news app, go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.